There is a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from work, but from the way we begin each day. You open your eyes to a racing heartbeat, a heavy mind, and a schedule already calling your name. No one is yelling, yet you feel like you're already running. No one is forcing you, yet you feel like you're being pulled. In that moment, life hasn't even begun, but the mind has already surrendered. We often think that chaos comes from our circumstances, but more often, it's from the way we enter the day without awareness. Stoicism teaches that freedom doesn't begin in the outside world. It begins in how we respond to our own inner state. When you wake without direction, you hand over the reins of your life to everything beyond your control. But if you begin the day with awareness, with intention, with a simple but meaningful ritual, you don't just live more consciously, you live with purpose. So the real question is, how should you begin? 1. Begin the day. Not with hurry, but with intention. There is a fragile yet vital moment that most people miss. It is the moment between opening your eyes and taking your first action of the day. In that brief window, you are untouched by the noise of the world, unpulled by the gravity of messages, emails, notifications, or responsibilities. It's a rare mental space, pure, empty, and not yet crowded with worry. But quickly, if you're not careful, you lose it. And when you lose that moment, you often lose control of the rest of your day. The common habit is to react instantly. The alarm rings and your body jolts up like a reflex. Your hand reaches for the phone as if by instinct. News, meetings, notes, deadlines, unanswered messages, they flood in like a rising tide. Your heart races, your breath shortens, your mind scatters. Just 5 minutes into waking, and you're already on the defensive. In that state, every action that follows doesn't come from reason, but from reaction. You're no longer leading the day, you're chasing it. Stoicism doesn't ask you to change your whole life in one morning. It simply asks you to change how you begin. A small shift, yet powerful enough to transform everything. Instead of jumping up and letting the world pull you in, you start with stillness. A moment that isn't stolen, a conscious breath, a pause not filled with reflex. In that silence, you remember you still have the power to choose your thoughts, to choose what matters, to choose your attitude as you enter the day. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Each day is a life in miniature." If a day is a condensed life, then how you begin your day is how you live. A life cannot begin in panic. A clear mind cannot be born out of chaos. When you start your morning with intention, you're sending a signal to yourself. I don't act because I'm forced. I act because I choose to, and that is the essence of inner freedom. Most of our mental struggles do not come from what happens outside, but from losing mastery over the mind when it matters most. And the moment that matters most is the one right after you wake. That is when you're most easily led by worry, expectation, pressure, and imagined outcomes. But Stoicism teaches, we are not free when our minds are dragged by what we do not control. So if you want a peaceful day, reclaim control from the very beginning. Start your day not with a string of unconscious actions, but with a deliberate pause. That pause doesn't need to be long. A minute, even a few seconds is enough. But in that pause, you must remember, you are the one setting the rhythm of life, not a victim of its speed. You don't need to think too much. You don't need to fix anything right away. You just need to breathe. You just need to be present. And you just need to place a simple intention. Today, I will live with awareness. When intention replaces haste, even the smallest moments begin to feel different. Brushing your teeth is no longer a mechanical motion, but an act of care. Brewing coffee is no longer for stimulation, but for slowing down. Opening the door is not rushing into a battlefield, but a mindful act. You are stepping into life with sovereignty. In those simple actions, you are practicing the Stoic core, living in the present, led by reason, grounded in virtue. Self-control does not come from controlling circumstances, but from mastering your response to them. And your first response of the day is the one that shapes everything after. If it's haste, you signal to your brain that today will be a race. But if it's calm, you establish a new operating system for your mind. The mindset of the master, not the driven. 2. Write out the chaos. Name what's draining you. Some mornings, you wake not because you've rested, but because your mind is overloaded with unresolved things. Unfinished tasks, unanswered questions, pending responsibilities. They flood your thoughts like a river without banks. You haven't even stepped out of bed, but already feel like you're falling behind. And that vague feeling is what drains you not physically, but mentally, before the day even begins. We often try to hold everything in our minds, but the human brain was not designed to store it all. It wasn't built to remember every worry, hold on to every thought, or manage everything at once. When you try to contain it all, your thoughts don't sit quietly, they collide, creating noise. Like a room full of echoes, every small sound is amplified until you can't tell what matters and what's just noise. The mental chaos isn't from too many problems, but from not organizing and naming them clearly. Writing down what's exhausting you is not weakness. It is the first step toward reclaiming strength. When you put your thoughts on paper, they no longer scatter in your mind. They appear clearly, tangibly, with shape and name. Once you've named what's troubling you, you can face it, evaluate it, and decide. Is this worth worrying about? Can I act on it, or should I simply accept it? Writing shifts you from vague unease to conscious awareness, from invisible pressure to concrete action. Writing also creates space between you and your emotions. What once weighed you down, once it's on the page, no longer holds the same power. You can see it as an observer, no longer entangled in it. That distance is necessary to regain control and stop being manipulated by fleeting emotions. In Stoic philosophy, this space between you and your feelings is the first step to training reason. Morning journaling isn't just clearing the mind, it's a practice in discernment and deliberate response. When you write out your thoughts, you don't just lighten the load, you begin to sort. What can be done today? What is out of your control? What is just exaggerated fear? What keeps repeating but remains unresolved? These questions don't arise in a mind that's still tangled. They appear only after things are laid out, seen clearly, and organized with reason. Writing is your way out of the mental storm, your place on the shore to see the whole landscape. Stoicism doesn't ask you to erase emotions, but to clarify them. Not to reject fatigue, anxiety, or confusion, but to face them with calm awareness. And writing is the tool to do that each morning. It needs no talent, no eloquence, and no audience. It only needs your honesty, a pen, a page, and one single intention. Name what's making you feel lost. When you dare to look directly at what's troubling you, you've already begun to rise above it. Chaos is not the enemy. It's a signal that you've been moving too fast, taking on too much, without stopping to listen inward. Morning writing is your declaration that you've chosen a different way, one of awareness, discernment, and intention. And when that first page is filled, you don't just feel lighter. You know you are moving toward greater clarity, strength, and freedom. 3. Imagine what could go wrong and be ready to meet it. Anxiety doesn't come from the future. It comes from a mind unprepared to face it. Each morning when you open your eyes, a part of you starts scanning for what might go wrong. A tense meeting, a rejection, an unforeseen mistake, an uncontrollable event. These scenarios, though unrealized, are enough to quicken the pulse and quietly tense the body. And without inner readiness, you begin the day in a defensive posture, bracing for whatever might go wrong. In Stoic philosophy, there is a practice called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Not to live in fear, but to train the mind for adversity. A Stoic does not avoid difficulty, but sits with it calmly, imagining what could go wrong. They do this not out of pessimism, but from the knowledge that surprise is what leads to panic. When you've already envisioned hardship, it can no longer shock you when it arrives. Instead, you realize you are prepared to respond, not merely react. Imagining the worst-case scenario is a way to test your mind in a safe environment. In thought, you can see a plan fail, a relationship break, a harsh criticism, an irreversible loss. You can observe your emotional reaction and then ask, if that really happens, what can I do? What lies within my power? What lies beyond it? And more importantly, can I still live and stay true to myself? When you answer that, you not only ease your fear, but reaffirm your ability to govern your emotions and your actions. This practice allows you to face what you typically avoid: uncertainty. Most of our worries come from the sense that we cannot control what's ahead. But when you dare to confront the unpredictable, you turn the unknown into something your mind can engage with. You don't deny the possibility of misfortune, you dissolve its power with reason. Like a soldier who trains in peace to avoid being blindsided in war, you train your spirit in advance so that hardship won't make you lose yourself when it comes. Not everything you imagine will happen. In fact, most of what you fear never will. But the remarkable thing is, even if none of it comes to pass, your preparation still makes you stronger, because you are no longer entering life in a haze of uncertainty, but with clarity and readiness. You cannot stop the storm, but you have armored your mind. And that is enough to keep you grounded where others are swept away. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality. But when you guide your imagination instead of letting it control you, it becomes a tool of mastery, not a source of fear." When you sit each morning, close your eyes and ask yourself, if today doesn't go as planned, what will I do? You are choosing strength, not to become emotionless, but to have solid ground beneath you when emotions rise, so you can observe, choose, and act. Remember, the goal is not to predict the future, but to prepare for it with inner steadiness. Because in life, the only certainty is that things can change at any moment. And the one who prepares for the worst is the one most ready to embrace the best. By visualizing adversity each morning, you do not live in fear, you live in calm, because you have already looked into the storm and chosen to walk forward anyway. 4. Align goals with virtue. Don't just do what's right. Many people wake each morning with a list of tasks to complete, calls to make, reports to submit, deadlines to meet. The list may be full, urgent, and clear. But one thing is often missing: the reason behind it all, and whether how we do these things reflects the kind of person we wish to become. There's a subtle but important difference between completing a task and completing it with virtue. Stoicism doesn't tell you to do more, it teaches you to do what's right and to do it the right way. Each morning when planning your day, the question shouldn't be just, what will I do? It must also be, how will I do it with what character? Because external actions are only part of life. The rest lies in your inner motives, where you decide why, how, and with what spirit you act. Stoicism places virtue before outcome, because outcomes are not always in your control, but your actions always are. The difference between someone acting on impulse and someone living by philosophy lies in the ability to ask, does this reflect the values I claim to live by? Stoicism speaks of four cardinal virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. These are not abstract ideals, but standards by which to measure daily actions. When you plan a task, ask, am I using wisdom to understand this clearly, or simply reacting to pressure? Am I treating others justly, or just chasing personal gain? Am I courageous enough to make a hard decision, or avoiding it out of fear? Am I maintaining temperance in my expectations and emotions, or letting them drive me? Each goal of the day should not just be an item on a list. It should be part of your character's refinement. If you focus only on completion and not on the manner of completion, you may gain results and still lose yourself. But if every action reflects core virtues, you will feel inner growth even when outcomes disappoint. For it's not the volume of tasks you accomplish that defines who you are, but the quality of character shaped through each choice. Stoicism doesn't dismiss the value of action, but it warns, action without virtue soon becomes hollow. When goals are disconnected from values, they quickly turn into calculation, comparison, and ego-driven pursuit. But when goals are tethered to virtue, they become tools for self-discipline, not just means to an end. That's why Stoics don't begin the day by merely listing what needs to be done, but by choosing who they will be while doing it. To link goals with virtue is to remind yourself that you have a choice. You cannot control every event in your day, but you can always control your intention. You can choose kindness even when treated unfairly. You can choose calm even when pressured. You can choose reason even when emotion demands reaction. And these choices, repeated in small daily acts, are what shape your soul. So when you write your goals each morning, go beyond asking, "What will I do?" Ask instead, "How will I act to embody wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance?" In a world of constant change, the one who holds fast to virtue is the one who truly masters themselves. 5. Conscious movement, training the mind through the body. In a world where the pace of life is relentless and the mind constantly pulled by invisible demands, the body is often reduced to a mere tool for motion, labor, and endurance. But in Stoic philosophy, the body is not just a physical vehicle, it is a gateway to the mind. Nowhere else in daily life offers a clearer opportunity to practice awareness, control, and full presence than in conscious movement. This is not training to be faster or stronger, but to make every movement a bridge between reason and the present moment. When you move without awareness, the body becomes a machine of reflex while the mind remains adrift in ungoverned thought. But when you pause, take a deep breath, and begin moving with full attention to each step, each breath, each subtle motion of your muscles, you are reordering both mind and body. No complex routines are needed, no advanced techniques, only presence. Because presence is the foundation of self-mastery. And when you can be present in your body, you can also learn to be present in your life. Stoicism does not promote physical perfection, but emphasizes mastering the body as part of mastering the self. Each morning as you move, treat it as a deliberate act, not just stretching muscles, but training perseverance, moderation, and the ability to govern your reactions. Holding a posture a little longer teaches patience. Maintaining breath through tension teaches emotional regulation. Repeating emotion with focus teaches discipline and the unity of intention and action. The body always reflects how you're living, whether you notice it or not. Rushed movements, hurried behavior, shallow breathing all mirror a mind that's lost its way. In contrast, a body that moves slowly, steadily, and with control is the clearest image of a mind that is present and aware of its actions. When you control the movement of your body, you not only improve your physical health, you increase your capacity to regulate thoughts and emotions. It is training that does not divide the outer from the inner. The ancient Stoics believed that freedom doesn't begin with breaking external chains, but with conquering the self. And one of the hardest things to conquer is your own body in the morning when it wants to delay, to linger, to stay in bed. When you choose to rise, stretch, breathe, and move, you are overcoming that resistance not by force, but by conscious choice. That is your first expression of self-discipline for the day. And that small act of will sets the tone for larger choices throughout your day. Conscious movement in the morning is not a goal, it's a tool. Not to showcase achievement, but to cultivate internal stability through physical practice. Each time you place your feet on the floor, twist your torso, stretch your arms, or draw a deep breath, you send a message to the brain. I am awake, I am in control, I am living with attention. That message becomes the foundation for mastery in every small action that follows. Remember, the mind cannot remain steady if it's housed in a neglected body. But a body cared for with presence becomes a reliable refuge for the spirit when the world outside turns chaotic. In each morning motion, you're not just exercising, you're performing a sacred ritual, training the mind by moving through the body, consciously, intentionally, and with dignity. 6. The breath, bridge between inner life and outer reality of all that belongs to us. Breath is the one thing that never leaves from the moment we are born to the moment we depart. We can stop speaking, acting, even thinking, but we cannot stop breathing. Breath is not merely a biological function, but the quiet bridge between body and mind, between our inner world and the world outside. When the mind becomes agitated, rushed, or confused, the breath immediately reflects it. Conversely, when you regulate the breath, you begin to reclaim the mind. That is why in Stoicism, breath is not just life, it is self-control. Each morning as you wake, the first act should not be reaction, it should be a deep breath, one that is full, unhurried, untouched by invisible worries. In doing so, you reset the rhythm of your day. You are not merely pulling air into your lungs, you are drawing awareness back to the present. Because breath only exists in the present, it cannot be delayed or pushed to the past or future. When you pay attention to your breathing, you naturally return to this very moment, where there is no expectation, no regret, only life unfolding in your body. Breath regulation is a form of moving meditation where no thoughts must be eliminated, only witnessed in the stream of your being. When you inhale with intention, you pull a wandering mind back to stillness. When you hold the breath in your chest, you stretch the moment of presence. And when you exhale slowly, you practice letting go. No complex concepts, no lofty imagery, just inhaling and exhaling as a deliberate ritual, and you will feel a clear shift in how you meet the day ahead. In moments of stress, when the mind is under attack from worry, judgment, or pressure, breath becomes shallow, jagged, and uneven. This pushes the nervous system into defense, making you prone to react rather than reflect. But when you interrupt that cycle by choosing to control the breath, you signal to the body, there's no rush. You create space for reason to enter, for emotion to settle, and for clarity to lead. Mastery begins at the smallest level, and breath is the most powerful starting point. To inhale with awareness is to step into your inner power. To hold your breath is to learn how to delay impulsive reaction. To exhale is to release what does not serve the present. When you repeat that cycle each morning with consistency, you're not just training your nervous system, you're training how you face life. Breath becomes the steady pulse reminding you of what matters. You are alive, you still have choice, and you can still govern yourself through any storm. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." And one of the most direct ways to claim that power is through your breath. When you govern your breathing, you are gripping the reins of your inner rhythm. You no longer have to chase everything waiting for you because you've already anchored yourself firmly, right here in the body. Breath doesn't change your circumstances, but it changes how you enter them. And that is the difference between reacting to life and stepping into it with purpose. So each morning, give yourself a few minutes to return to your breath. Not to become someone extraordinary, but to remember you still possess the most fundamental power. To live with awareness, beginning with a single, grounded breath. 7. Gratitude, not because everything is good, but because you are still here. In a world where scarcity, comparison, and craving are constantly amplified, people find it harder and harder to feel content. Each morning upon waking, the mind tends to pull you toward what is missing, what remains undone, or what makes you feel incomplete. That is why practicing gratitude at the start of the day is not a form of romanticism or false positivity, but an essential act to reset perception. Gratitude is not because everything is perfect, but because amid imperfection, you are still here fully capable of living, choosing, and doing what is right. Stoicism does not encourage denying sadness or hardship, but teaches you to face them with clear eyes and without avoidance. In that view, gratitude does not arise from comfort, but from awareness. When you write down something you are grateful for each morning, you direct your attention away from what's lacking and toward what already exists. It is an active choice among countless unconscious ones. You do not write to escape, but to clarify that although you don't have everything, you still have plenty. And that is enough to start the day with inner wholeness. Gratitude, when practiced regularly, becomes a way of life rather than a fleeting reaction. It does not only happen when things go well, but is especially valuable when circumstances are tough. Because it is precisely when you can still recognize the good in the darkest times that you truly possess lasting inner strength. Stoicism teaches that freedom does not come from controlling circumstances, but from controlling your perspective on those circumstances. Gratitude is a viewpoint, a choice, a habit trained to keep you from losing yourself amid chaos and demand. When you pause and write down a few small things you appreciate, you not only acknowledge reality, but restore the connection between mind and essentials. A deep breath, a day without illness, a quiet sunrise filtering through the curtains. These are often overlooked for their familiarity, yet they form the foundation that nourishes lasting mental stability. Gratitude is how you refuse to forget the quiet forces sustaining you through each day. When this habit roots itself in your mornings, you begin the day not with lack, but with fullness. Writing down what you are grateful for also reshapes your mental focus. Instead of letting your mind be led by what's missing, you actively turn your gaze toward what is present. Repeated each morning, this creates a protective shell around your spirit, shielding you from the lure of envy, performance pressure, and fatigue from expectation. You stop comparing because you concentrate on real value, not socially defined worth. And when you see life through gratitude's lens, You also learn to value yourself for all you have endured to arrive where you are now. Epictetus once emphasized, "The wise man is not upset by what he does not have, but finds joy in what he does have." This is not merely advice, but a life principle. Whenever you feel lacking or insufficient, practicing gratitude reminds you that you are still here, still have opportunity, and still possess the power to act. Gratitude does not make hardships vanish, but it makes you sturdier to walk through them without losing clarity. So take a few minutes each morning to jot down a few small things you cherish. No need for elaborate lists or long essays, just sincerity. Because each line you write is a step back from the whirlwind of desire and a step closer to inner sufficiency. Gratitude is a silent yet powerful act of resistance against the hurried world. I am not lacking, I am present, and that is enough. 8. The ritual of the free. There are people who live their whole lives without ever asking, "Whose way am I starting my day by?" They let the alarm wake their body, let the notification seize their mind, let the schedule dictate their breath, and let emotions be ruled by the first event of the day. That is not a sovereign life, but a chain of unconscious reactions. In contrast, the morning ritual of the Stoic is not performed to beautify a timetable, but to reclaim mastery from the very first moment of a day. It is an affirmation that you will live not by what the world imposes, but by what you choose with awareness, discipline, and virtue. When you wake and practice a series of deliberate actions, writing down what occupies your mind, imagining what could go wrong to prepare your spirit, aligning goals with virtue, moving with presence, breathing with focus, and embracing gratitude with honesty, you create a firm boundary between yourself and the outer chaos. You are no longer dragged along, but actively choosing your pace, direction, and step. That is the mark of the free person, one who lives not to satisfy expectations, but to fulfill what they believe is right, regardless of circumstances. The morning ritual does not promise a day without challenges, nor guarantee that you will always remain calm. But it gives you a start sturdy enough so that when everything changes, you still hold your core. It trains you daily not to be worn down by pressure, not to be shaken by external events, and not to be swept away by fleeting emotions. It is silent but persistent preparation, accumulating bit by bit into inner strength that no circumstance can take away once built. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Act as if today were the last day of your life." When you begin your morning with appreciation, intention, and mindfulness, you live as if every moment matters. And that way of living is true freedom, not freedom from duty, but freedom from ignorance, reflex, and inertia. So if you want a different day, don't wait for circumstances to change. Start tomorrow morning with a simple but powerful ritual. No complexity needed. Just remember you can begin again each morning, each breath, each choice. That is the privilege of the awakened. That is the ritual of the free. In a world where speed is often praised over awareness, taking time each morning to turn inward is no longer a luxury, but a necessity for anyone seeking to live with sovereignty. I believe the morning ritual inspired by Stoicism is not meant to make us perfect, but to help us preserve our essence amid imperfection. It is not a rigid system, but an opportunity to question what truly matters before life throws a barrage of demands at us. From writing down a restless mind, to imagining what could go wrong, shaping behavior through virtue, to breathing, moving, and practicing gratitude, all are ways to remind yourself. You are not bound to live by reflex. You can live by choice. And that choice, repeated every morning, is the path to lasting freedom from within. If you find value in what has been shared, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next content. And wherever you are on your journey, please remember, a day begun with awareness is a day you did not let life pass by in vain. See you in the next video.